Good morning, friends of Bunny Hollow Crafts. Let's work on the pages. This is about the third go around for this video. I'll show you what I did wrong. What you're going to need is 5 pieces of 8.5 by 11 for the pages. This is 65 pound. So it's 2 stacks of 5 to make our 5 pages. You need 2 pages to make one. So what I did wrong was I cut them all at once and I cut them on the wrong side. But never throw this away because this is good for flaps and other things that we can use in the album. So where I went wrong, I'll show you. I was trying to cut them all at once with my big cutter, but I decided I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to cut 2 at a time from my stack of 5. Let me just pull this stack over here. This is the stack we're cutting from. You want this cut to be 8.5 by 7.5. I cut it wrong. I'm just dyslexic. I just do that sometimes. So I'm sure this is right. We're going to cut this at 7.5. This is 7.5 this way, but it is 8.5 this way. I have to tell myself. Yeah, cut it. I did cut it. Okay, so that will give us, when you turn it, you'll score 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch here. Let's keep going. So 2 more at one time. And the beauty of this is you only have to cut one side. If you cut the right side first. But really, you know, it's all just part of it. And you can all use all these scraps and all the mistakes for flaps and flips and so on and so whatnot. So save all these because they'll turn into pockets, right? And then, so that is 5 of our 7.5 by 8.5. Now these you're going to cut down to actually 7.5 by 7.5 because that's the size of our page. Okay, 7.5, save that, by 7.5. Just have a little bit for this one, which I'm going to save. So that will go there. We'll cut 2 more. I'm sorry I can't fast forward. I don't know what's wrong with my Mac, but iMovie has just stopped working. So 7.5 by 7.5. And one more, and we'll put these pages together. Thank you for the kind comments and the sweet thoughts and the prayers. I do appreciate it. I did sleep 9 hours and 29 minutes last night. That was a record, and not much coughing through the night either. So that was a good sign, I think. All right, so let me pull in my scoreboard, move all these scraps out of the way. Excuse my arms. Let me get them all. Those will become pockets and such. So these are our 7.5 by 7.5. These are 8.5 by 7.5. These need to be scored. So I'll just score one to show you, and then I don't want the video to be too long. I'll just cut it off. So you put it in here, 7.5 by 8.5. You score 1/2 inch at 8 and at 1/2 inch. Or you could turn it and do it both at 1/2 inch. I just don't really like scoring down in that corner. But then you fold and fold, and then when you pull in your 7.5 by 7.5, these will perfectly fit. And that's how we create base pages, okay? And then I've got a new idea for flaps and flips. So I'm going to connect all my pages. Let's do one, just in case nobody's seen it before, or someone hasn't seen it before. Put all those to there. I'm going to do it with tape. I just find it's easier. I've got my 3/8 inch here score tape, if I can find the end. So I'm just going to put score tape, and put on my glasses would be bright. Put on my tape. You could do it with glue if you liked. I like for pages not to move, but I go back and forth on that. Sometimes I've done it with tape or glue and really liked it, but I think I really like tape. Okay, burnish down well. Okay, with pokey tool, pull back just a little ways to the outside. Okay, bring in your 7.5 by 7.5. I always start up here in the corner, down at the bottom corner, then get that bottom corner where it looks right, and that looks like it's not quite right. All of mine are cut a little differently, even though I try. I've learned just not to stress about it. Push it down there, hold it, and pull your tape. Burnish, right? So that side is complete. Now this side is easy. We take off the tape, push it to the outside, push this over, hold it up, go like that to get out a bubble. You don't want any air in there. And just lay it down. Pull your tape, burnish. So that's how I make base pages, and I'm going to make the rest of mine, and then I'll get back with you. Hi guys, my pages are done. One, I was going to tell you, don't worry about when they're not perfect, because they never will be perfect. But this particular one, if you can see right there, this page is just longer. Now maybe I could trim it. I don't know if it's straight, but I decided I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to use this as flaps and flips. So what I'm going to do is just come down about 1/2 inch, not even measuring, just cut off where it was connected, right? Cut this off, and now I've got 2 pages of scraps that we will use for flaps in the book, right? And I'm just going to remake that page, put that up there with the scrap pile. Sometimes you need to do that, most times you don't, but that one was really uneven, so I'm going to make one more page, and then I have an idea for flaps and flips. Hold on. I'm starting to make the flaps and the flips, and what I've done, and I don't really know how to film this, but this is my idea. If I pull in the page, you can see what I'm talking about. This is just if you want to try something on your own, instead of following exact instructions, because I'd rather just freewheel, right? So with the side pockets open, I cut these to 7 1/4 down the long side, right? Then I took it and scored 1/2 inch, and then I realized you need to cut this end as well to something 7 1/4, right? With it folded, with it open, it would be longer. Let me measure that so I can show you. So it is right at 7 1/2. No, a little more. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be exact, right? They're going to go on the page somehow, some way. And I just decided, cut 3 or 4 of them, set them aside. Then I'm going to cut 2 more. These are 8.5 by 11s, 65 pounds. Is that 2 or 3? It's 2. I'm going to cut those in half at 5 1/2. This is just, I did this in a previous album. This just gives me 4 more things that I can use somewhere. And the idea is just to make a lot of flaps and flips. And then when you pull the pages out, just put them wherever, right? So if these are 5 1/2, I'm going to take 2 of them and score on the long side. Now, of course, I'll have to trim the end, right? But this is just how I start. So these I'll trim to 7 1/4 because that's how long our page is. And these will be 2 flaps that will go like this, right? These, I think I want to do on this side. And just cut, they'll be shorter, but we'll find a place for them, right? So all 4 of these will get cut. And we can do them all together probably at 7 1/4. Let me just do that real quickly. Actually, I don't want to use this trimmer because you can't see the 7 1/4 right there. You see that? So I pulled out my little one that I keep at my desk. And we will cut these. I can do 2 at a time. It doesn't have to be exactly 7 1/4. It could be shorter, it could be longer, it could be whatever you want. But 7 1/4 will give you just that little bit of room at the bottom. So there's 2. And here's 2 more. 7 1/4. Okay, let me keep going. I'll cut some more and I'll show you what I'm doing as I go. With the same thought in mind of making flips, I pulled out 3 scraps that I had in my stash. This one is 7 by 7 1/2. So since it is longer, I'll score on that side. And this will be 7 by 7 1/2. So I'll probably trim that one a little bit. So that gives us 1 more. Just keep piling on these and we will figure out how, this is just how I usually start. So these 2 are about the same. Ones are definitely crooked. I think I'll cut those again. I don't know, they're just scraps, so you never know if you could have cut it right or not. So get them straight on the bottom, and then just cut it on the side, just wherever, just so that they are square. Okay, or not square, but, you know, even, straight. So they're now 6 3/4 by, oh, come on, 6 1/2 by 6 3/4. So again, I'm going to score on the longer side, which is the 6 3/4. And who knows, we'll have these 6 3/4. I'm going to go there. Who knows how we'll put these in. We may change them even more, cut them down a little more or something, I don't know. It's just fun to me to do it this way, because it's a little stressful trying to figure out each thing for each page. And when you have things that are already ready, and look, we already have all that much ready, it makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to continue, and when I finish, I will put all the flips and flaps on the page. I'm going to put the first thing on the first page. This is a flap that we made earlier. This one, let me just measure it out. Maybe it's not a good idea to do it that way. 6 1/4 wide, 6 3/4 long, 1/2 inch flap. So what I'm going to do is take one of those scraps that we had. I'm going to go ahead and score it. I may have to trim it. I don't think so. 8 1/2, and turn it, and 1/2. Clip corners. Should fit exact. I've been making albums for so long that even I don't remember really my measurements, because I don't do math very well. Anyway, fold. Fold. It should burnish really well. I'll do this one. Let's just see, do we fit? I think we do. Yeah, we do. Okay, so fold. Now this one, which reminds me, I need paper clips. I don't have any up here. I like to paper clip this on because, well, I won't with this one, because see, this one is the exact width of the page, right? So we'll go ahead and apply that, and we'll put this flip over it. So I'm just going to do that with glue. I haven't picked out the paper yet that I'm going to use on this. I'm going to pull from my stash because I got plenty of that. But it will probably be winter-based album instead of Christmas, because Christmas is sort of behind, although I really do want to put my Christmas pictures in it. So that decision left to be made. So openings to the side, and just put it down at the bottom. And get it squared up on all sides. I was noticing my trimmer was not, the edges weren't smooth. And I replaced blades in both of my little trimmers, so hopefully that should alleviate that problem. I was lucky to find I had 2 of those in my stash too. So with that down, we'll just put this one, we'll just eyeball it and stick it in the middle. And also, while I took a break for lunch, I figured out what was wrong with my Mac. I don't have a separate hard drive, and if you don't delete your iMovies, and Mac puts them everywhere, you've got to find, they were everywhere, but I finally found all the hidden places. It was just a overload on my Mac. So now that everything's deleted, I can use it again. So there we go. That's figured out. So there's one page. We'll do something on the back. I probably, yeah, let's pull out a scrap and fix that. Give that away to, where was one of those small ones? That'll work. That's probably too wide. This is probably too skinny. Is that too skinny? No, let's use it. Okay, let's first score it. Anywhere, doesn't matter. This is just to close that flap. So I'm just going to score anywhere my pencil falls. Fold it. Burnish it real well. And then we will apply this to the pocket. If I'd been thinking, I could have, no, you can't put it in the pocket, but we'll cover it up when we mat. So I'm just going to cut it off wherever. We'll glue that to the pocket. Just in the middle, just eyeball it. That looks middle to me. Okay. And of course that will get covered up when we mat. And then this, we'll use a magnet to close it. Let me see if I can find my magnets. Okay, found my magnets. Just gonna open that up and put one of them on the inside, sticking together. I was gonna use, I've kind of decided to use the bigger magnets, the wider around, more circumference, because they're just a little bit stronger, but this was such a small flap, I decided to go ahead and go with that. So I'm gonna put that there, take the tape off, or the paper off of the tape, and just close it up. And I'll seal it down. Okay, so that is one page done. Let's get going. I have another of, this is the same size as we made the pocket. I'm gonna score it top, or at the side and at the side. Not on the long end, just on the two sides. And we'll make a belly band out of this one. So scoreboard away, fold and burnish. This way, this will give me a place to make some photo inserts to stick behind. I think that's kind of fun and kind of different sometimes. So this is the same page. And again, now that we're putting something on the back, make sure that, you know, you get this right side up, right? You don't want to have it upside down. I'm going to put it top and bottom. You could put it side to side, but I find that when you put things in, sometimes they fall out. So I've started putting them like that. So I'm just going to attach that with glue. Yeah, I guess I better put glue on both ends. Just eyeball the middle. And as we get to our paper pack, we'll find out what we got, and we'll put things under there. I think it'll be cute. So there's one page done. All right, these are the two that were 8.5 by 11 that we cut in half, and I'm just going to attach them side to side. This is a brand new page, so my pen stuck to my finger. Get off of there. Okay. So just eyeball it, because these are a little bit shorter than the page, just by a tiny little bit. So just somewhere in the middle. And just burnish it down. Do the same thing with the other one. Try to get them level with each other. I think that looks pretty good. Burnish it down. Okay, we'll close this with a magnet too. Need to decide, do we want it to open? Get that magnet in. That way or that way, it doesn't really matter. I think there's nothing on the back yet. We'll do it this way. So magnets, actually I'm going to use the big ones this time because that's a bigger space. So let me get those. Magnets have been found. Just going to take the top off of one of them. And I'm going to use the bigger ones because this is a longer space and I like to hear, you know, a good grip and that little click that you get. And I also, as I mat and then put pattern paper over, it's just another layer. So I think this holds a little stronger when you do it like this. So just up at the top, kind of inch in, doesn't really matter. Take these and put them on top. Take your papers off of the tape. Now these will be really tight when we open it up because this is a lot of magnet. But I do think, as I've been doing them, I've learned that once you mat them and everything, it's not, I mean, you're going to have to really pry that open. But we'll cover all that with, and hear that good click? I love that. So this is a page I put one on and decided it was wrong, and I cut it off. But we're going to cover that up. You'll never know it. So let's get something to put on this page. If you remember, we cut 3 that were the same at the very beginning. Remember the 3? So I'm going to cut one in half. How wide is that? Well, it doesn't really matter. Just eyeball it. That's not half. Let's go. No, I don't want to go in half. I decided. I know what I wanted to do. I just want to go a couple inches shorter. My idea, let me just show you my idea, make it clearer. I'm going to put those on the page, and that's going to flap down from the side to cover it up, to hold them down. I'll show you what I mean. Let's put it on the page. So here's our page. Flaps to the side. Side pockets, doesn't really matter which way that goes. Let's put these on, or this one on. I'm having a time. I think this cold is making me crazy. I forgot I was going to trim down the other one too, so I'll do that in just a sec. I'll get my mind around this at some point. So just kind of eyeball that top to bottom and get that in there. The second one, I want to be not the same width. I want it to be an inch shorter. I forgot about that. So I'm just going to take off a quick inch on that one. Inch, inch and a half, whatever you want to do. Doesn't really matter. I just want it to be sort of a cascading, you know, and then we'll flip that there. So this goes straight on top of that one. And make sure we're perfect as we can be. And burnish down. Okay, now this one we can put on the very bottom layer, and it will close those and give you another place for pictures. Do I think it's too wide? No, but I think it may be too long. I'm going to trim it down. This is just a process I go through, and people were asking about that Christmas mini I did a couple years ago, or a year ago, I guess, for Rosa Kelly's swap. And this is just, you know, you just go through and figure it out. So I kind of like that better. So let's put that on there. So let's open those up. And stick this in the middle. Let's eyeball it. Burnish it down really well. Always check for glue. I've sometimes find glue seeps out and sticks you where you don't want to be. So that'll give us a nice flap and a closure. Let's close that with a magnet. I think I'll just use the little ones because it's not quite as wide. There's an X or a plus and an I. So let's open this up, take the paper off. Sorry if you're hearing background noise. They're working again today on fixing whatever was wrong with that spa that's outside my window. So right in the middle, put this one on top. I am fumble fingers with these little magnets. Get the paper off. Come on. There we go. And just close that down and close that over. And that will hold that. Okay. That's held with the big magnets. We're moving right along. Okay, I picked 2 more of our little flippies. This one is 7 inches long, 7 inches long, or wide. Remember, you have your half an inch. So one's 7.5 by 7. And this one, you also have your 1/2 inch. It is 6 3/4 by 5.5. Okay, that's one of the 5.5 ones. So what we're going to do is just put these on the top, I think. This is a brand new page, nothing back there. Put the bottom one on the, or the top, the wider one on the bottom. So put that one down first, kind of in the middle. Burnish down. Check for glue. And then I'm just going to put this one in the middle, right on top. It's also a little bit shorter, which I think is a nice look. So just in the middle of this one. And up at the top. Okay, burnish down. Okay, so now this gives you 2 flips up, which, and it's easy to see that it, because this is a different size. I like that. I have cut 2 more pieces in half, 8.5 by 11. I'm going to cut these down. I'll do 2 at a time to 7 1/4. This is the. I love having the both of them because I just want to be able to see where I'm cutting. I have enough trouble cutting as it is. So 7 1/4. Okay, and these also at 7 1/4. Actually threw those in the trash. I don't usually do that. Okay, so that gives me 4. So let's pull in the scoreboard and score them. Okay, I can't pick up anything. Okay, let me think about this. I just had an idea. Yeah, definitely this one. We're going to score on the short side. So just 1/2 inch, sorry for the noise, 1/2 inch on all 4 on the short side. And they are banging outside. I apologize for that. Okay, 1/2 inch. All right, let's burnish all that and put it on the page. Okay, so pulling our page, nothing on the back. I thought we had gone farther. I guess we hadn't. Okay, let's get all those to the side. Put some glue on our flap. And we're going to put these in the middle. Come on, glue. Okay. We're going to put them in the, center them on the page. Hopefully they'll come out now. Yeah. And we're going to do it on all 4 sides. It'll just be a fun opening thing. So side to side, somewhere in the middle. Press down. I had a lot of glue in there apparently. Wow, it came out on both ends. Okay. Okay, so that one down. The next one on. You do want this one to be kind of even with that one. You don't want that hanging out at the bottom. So about, if I can get it moved up a little bit more. If I can't, I'm not going to sweat it. Just put it down. And this one, you'll want to have lined up with that one as best you can. Okay, so let's just close it down so I can sort of have a guide. Get that flap down. It's way off, Beck. Okay, something like that will be fine. Okay, so just burnish down. And we can do these like this, which is kind of fun, although I don't really like all that, so let's see if a different way. And now it's over there. So you know what I'm probably going to do? Yes, this is what I do. I'm going to cut this one down just a little bit. So I'm just going to turn it over with my, I'll line it up, try to get it somewhat square on my line. Okay, and I'm just going to put my ruler wherever there's a line. I don't care how much I'm trimming off. Just want it to be straight. And just whack it off. And now, you don't see it. Let's see if we do it like that. Yeah, I like that better. It'll look better when we get pattern paper and everything on it. And we'll probably put a magnet to close it or something to flip up. We'll see when we get there. This gives us lots of opportunities for stuff. All right. We're going to try to make a diagonal pocket. I've been struggling. But I'm going to cut this to 7 1/4 because that's a good size for the length or the width. The book is square, so it makes good sense. Okay, so I'm going to pull in a page. And I guess I really didn't need to cut it there, but it gives me more idea. Actually, I like that better. I'm going to score on this end and trim. Okay, I did score on the two ends. I'm going to draw a line now to make our triangle. Okay, and that's where I'll trim. All right, you can see I already folded under, so I knew that would work out. So let me get my trimmer in. I know I want to cut up here. I'll show you what I'm thinking in just a sec. Cut off at the point, right? Okay, now I'm going to pull in the trimmer or the scoreboard, get everything out of the way. See if I can score on that line. I can get that lined up. I just don't know if I'm straight. You know, I don't know how to know that. Got lucky. That's what we did. We got lucky. Okay. There's got to be a way to figure that out. I don't know what it is. All right. So I'm going to save that. That could be useful for something. And now I'm going to fold because I think it makes this nice. It makes your front of your pocket just nicer. It gives it a nice finished edge. So I'm going to cut it off. Let's use my scissors somewhere in here. Okay, and I'm going to have to cut there, right? So will that clear that? And that clears that. Okay, let's glue this down. Come on, glue. You want to come out. I know you do. There you go. This doesn't have to be pretty. Nobody's going to see the inside of this pocket, right? So just glue that down. That'll just make it a little bit stronger, and hopefully the pocket gets used, right? And it's just a nice edge. Okay, I'm also going to have to trim there, as you can see, right? And there. Scissors. Trim that edge and cut that corner. Okay, so let's pull in our page, move some stuff. This is the one with all the flips and flaps, so this will be lighter for the page. And it's going to go like that. Burnish that down. You can still see my line. That's what that is. That's my line. I'm going to erase that real quick. I was thinking it was a raw edge or something, but it's really the pencil line that's throwing the shadow. Okay, so just erase that really good. Bring that back in. Yeah, that's what that was. Okay, so I'm just going to glue down these two sides, right? These two flaps. And I'm going to have a gluey mess, I can tell. And I don't know why I made that flap bigger. It just doesn't matter though. Okay, so just to the corner. And there we go. Yeah, glue's coming everywhere. Okay, I like that. And that will be lighter. I don't want to get into it yet, Becky. But it will be lighter weight, given that we have all this stuff going on back here. So that's my thought process. All right. I've got some more 5.5s that I scored 1/2 inch on the short end. This one's 5.5 by 7.5. I'm going to glue it down. This one I think has something on the back. Yep, make sure it's right side up. So somewhere in the middle. Open her up, make sure you've got no glue sticking out or seeping out. I'm going to take this next one that's 7.25 inches long, also 1/2 inch. And I'm going to try to get these evened up. So I think I'll turn it towards me to help me. Okay, go just a hair. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so burnish down well. And then we have this last piece that's also a 5.5, and I cut it 6 3/4 inches this way. We're going to put it up here, and no, we're not. And you know why not? I'm just going to leave this in. It's too short, right? I'm going to cut another one or find another scrap and cut it. If that's 6 3/4, I want to cut it more like 7 or 7.5. Not 7.5. Our page is 7.5. 7.25. I'll get my mind together at some point, people, I promise. Decisions, right? I decided I didn't like the smaller piece. Where is it? Because I didn't like it showing these. So I cut another piece, 7.5 by 7.25. It's 7.25 wide and 7.5 long. And that will cover up and look better. So I'm going to burnish that again. And I'll use that other piece somewhere else. So get that in the middle. Just press it down. It is snowing to beat the band outside. Supposed to get 12 inches overnight. I'm not sure about the Utah mountains. I kind of miss the South Carolina warm temperatures. But anyway, that will work for the next page. And we'll probably close that with a little, let's just do it while we're at it. I have this one that I cut off of one of the others. I think it's a little wide. Let me trim it down. Just take a little bit off of it. Maybe make it 2 inches. Yeah, 2 inches wide would be good. Okay. I'm going to need this too because it's way too long. So if we're going to put that there, we need to cut it somewhere, just somewhere. I can't measure all these things. And it's not necessary to, really. You just use what you like. So it'll look something like that. So let's put some glue on here. It's a nice aggressive. That must be that other page that from the pocket that had that inch flap. So somewhere in the middle. We'll go with that. Push it down. Make sure it's down really well. And then close that up, and then we'll put a magnet there. Let me find my little magnets. There's one. And there's two. Go ahead and stick together, that's fine. Just don't roll away. So take the glue off of one side, or the paper off of it. Put it down. Take this off and just lay that down and push it up. Boy, I didn't really get that in the middle, did I? Doesn't matter. Okay. I think that may be enough. I don't know. This one also needs a closure of some kind. What do we want to do for a closure on that one? Okay, I found this pack. I've had this in my stash forever. It's from K & Company from who knows how long, and I've never even used it. And I just pulled it out, and it's got, oh, look at the trees. And I kind of like the snowflakes. I'm kind of thinking I may do blue, but there's a lot of goodies in this pack. I really like the snowman heads. Might use those. But anyway, when I get to that point, I'm just going to leave this for now because I can fold, right? And we'll attach and close it down with that way. So I'm going to save this idea and hit that later when we get to decorating and I decide the paper. All right, we're to the last page. This one is 7.5 total length. They're all 5.5 wide. And basically the idea was to come down 1/4 inch with each one. My math doesn't look like it's working out right, but anyway, I'm just going to let it go. Basically 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Just cascading. You'll see what I mean. So this one's going to go straight onto that one. They're the same width, basically. And see, there's about your 1/4 to about 1/2. And then we're going to put this one on. These are the last scraps that I had from the ones that I made, which was kind of cool. So I just cut them down to fit what I needed. Get that up there, my goodness. And see, that one's just so it's like a sideways waterfall, sort of. Excuse my writing upside down, it won't matter. Pull in our page. That should fit beautifully, and it will. So let's see. Yeah, let's glue it down with the flap. I was thinking of gluing it flat to the page, but that wouldn't make much sense. So somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to find another little scrap to make a closure there. I just don't like these things flapping, you know. So check for glue, check for glue, check for glue. Okay, I see a little scrap right under here. Probably wide enough. I'm going to score there. Fold. Let's see, do you want the shorter side up top? Yeah. Yeah. Somewhere in the middle would be good. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to trim some of that off. We just don't need it. I don't need to waste the glue. So we'll put glue on there. Just glue it somewhere down in the middle of this page. Well, then we'll put these over because I want to make sure I get it in the middle. As close as I can anyway. think that's about right. So I'm just going to glue it down, burnish it, and we'll put a magnet on there. Let's see, that was a, so we need a, okay, so you guys can go together. So we'll open that up, take one of the stickies off. Push it down, take off this one. And just hold these down and close it. All right, so something for the back. Our very last, well, it's not our last page because remember you'll have your inside back cover. All right, I pulled out one of the more of those scraps that we had. It's 8.5 long. It is about 4 inches wide. Confess to being tired. I'm gonna just go with a pocket and a flap and call it done. So let's go with that. I don't want to waste too much of my space. All right, let's clip our corners. And then just fold. It's been a pretty good day of progress, getting all the pages rocked out. There'll be more to do to them, of course. I will probably go ahead and upload this video, but when next video they'll already be matted, because I'm going to mat the pages. I'll decide the paper and mat them, and then we'll start decorating them. I gotta get rid of all this tape stuff. I put this tape on here because it gives me an idea of where I'm in frame, but as I've used my little X-Acto knife cutting things, it's cut the tape. Now after a good bit it's a mess, but that's the reason for that border, you see. It helps me stay in frame for you guys. All right, so we're just going to glue this down. Make sure we're straight on the other side. Okay, glue my cutting board. And my towel is right here. Okay, we will have to get, well, I've surely got a scrap from somewhere. Yeah, there's one. This is a funky scrap. Let's just cut this off, trim this down. I don't know what I was thinking with this one, but we will just trim that away and save that for something else. And let's see how wide this is. I think it's too wide. I'm just going to trim a little bit off of it. 1/2 inch. See where that ends us up? Yeah, I like that better. Okay, I will sit down and edit this video tonight and hopefully get this up for you, probably with YouTube maybe tomorrow, but anyway, we're making progress and that's a good thing. And it's good to have a project when you're recovering. I just can't sit still, so, but I'm gonna now because I'm a little tired. But anyway, there's a pocket with a flap, and that does it for all 5 pages. So you guys stay well out there.